Welcome to the debate. In 1986, Diego Maradona scored the infamous Hand of God.
Right? An absolute classic moment.
Exactly. It was this moment of pure, spontaneous human deception that completely changed the history of the sport. And it only happened because a human referee simply missed it.
Which definitely wouldn't fly today.
Not a chance. Today, a network of stadium cameras tracking 50 frames per second, synchronized with a microchip inside the ball, well, it would have nullified that goal before Maradona even finished his celebration.
Yeah, the whistle would have blown instantly. What?
Right, because behind the visceral roar of the stadium, there is this profound technological revolution occurring. A silent hum of servers and advanced algorithms is processing millions of data points every single second.
It's massive.
It really is. So today, we're going to debate whether artificial intelligence removes the essential human magic from football. We want to compare algorithmic precision with the unpredictable creativity of the athletes. I take the position that algorithmic precision actually expands our understanding of the game. It empowers athletes, enhancing the sport's inherent magic rather than diminishing it.
Well, I look at that exact same technology and, frankly, I see a completely different outcome. I argue that hyper-analyzing every single movement risks totally sterilizing the sport. When we try to quantify every human variable, we sacrifice that unpredictable creativity, the raw passion, and the human fallibility that make football a global phenomenon.
Look, let's actually dive into how this technology functions on the pitch right now. Because we aren't just talking about a scout in the stands with a notepad anymore, right?
No, definitely not. We're miles past the notepad.
We are talking about semi-automated optical tracking systems. They map 29 distinct anatomical points on every single player's skeleton.
Wow, 29 points.
Yeah, and 50 times a second. They aren't just tracking where a midfielder is standing. They are tracking the exact angle of his hips before he receives a pass. They measure his center of gravity.
And the ball is tracked too, right?
Exactly. There is a microchip suspended inside the match ball itself, transmitting its precise position 500 times a second.
It's just an unbelievable amount of data.
It is. All of this feeds into a central machine learning model in real time. And from my perspective, this doesn't replace the human playing the game. It serves as a hyper-sophisticated lens.
A lens, sure, but...
Wait, let me just finish the thought. It reveals the invisible architecture of the match. AI optimizes the tactical environment so human creativity can actually thrive at its peak instead of being bogged down by guesswork.
I understand the sheer scale of the data being collected. And look, from an engineering standpoint, it is an absolute marvel. But you just used the phrase optimizes the tactical environment.
Yeah, because it does.
And that is exactly where my alarm bells start ringing. Football has historically been driven by chaos. It's a game of continuous, unpredictable flow.
Chaos can be a bit of an exaggeration, don't you think? Tactics have always existed.
Sure, tactics exist. But when technical staffs use artificial intelligence to study thousands of hours of video, trying to calculate the exact mathematical probability of creating a dangerous play from the left flank, we cross a very dangerous threshold.
How so?
We move from preparation to programming. These advanced software systems are now simulating every possible defensive shape and offensive countermeasure in virtual environments. And this is before a boot ever touches the grass.
But that's just superior preparation.
My concern is the application of that data. The pitch is supposed to be a canvas for human improvisation, It's a place for unexpected, deeply human genius. If we use algorithms to map out the perfect response to every single situation, the sport risks becoming the execution of automated scripts.
Okay, let me push back on that idea of automated scripts, because I think we need to look at how coaches and players actually use this data during real-time game management.
I'm listening.
While a match is underway, these automated systems process thousands of events simultaneously. They provide concrete data on pressure levels, space occupation, and the exact distance between defensive lines.
Right, the coaches get it on their tablets on the sideline.
Exactly. Before this technology, a coach on the touchline had to rely on intuition to guess why their midfield was suddenly being overrun. Now, they receive an instantaneous alert showing their defensive block has dropped 4 meters deeper over the last 10 minutes.
Exposing a specific lateral corridor.
You got it. They can make dynamic adjustments based on objective reality. Think of it like a chess grandmaster using a computer to study openings.
Oh, I'm not sure about that analogy.
Hear me out. The algorithm doesn't move the pieces for the grandmaster. It simply maps the board with absolute clarity. Why should relying on precise data to remove a coach's blind spots be seen as a threat to creativity?
That is a compelling analogy, but we really need to highlight the fundamental difference between chess and football.
Which is?
Chess is a closed, discrete system. It has perfect information, set boundaries, and turn-based mechanics. Football is an open, continuous, and inherently chaotic system. The beauty of the sport lies precisely in the fact that it cannot be perfectly mapped.
But we can map the probabilities.
Yes, but if automated systems detect recurring patterns and dictate exactly which areas of the field a team should use, it neutralizes risk-taking. It discourages the very concept of the gamble.
I think it just calculates the gamble better.
Look at it this way. If a player is told by his analytical team that a certain cross-field pass has an 8% chance of success, instinct dictates they won't attempt it. They'll recycle possession, take the mathematically safe route.
Well, a sensible player probably should recycle possession there.
Yet, the history of the World Cup is entirely defined by those 8% passes that miraculously find their mark. If we use advanced software to predict and optimize every game scenario, we eventually engineer the unexpected dribble or the spontaneous tactical gamble completely out of the sport. We optimize away the art.
I mean, you're assuming the data dictates the action rather than simply informing the actor. The player on the pitch still has to make an instantaneous split-second decision under intense physical pressure.
True. The algorithm isn't whispering in the striker's ear as he strikes the ball.
Right, but executing those flawless or even flawed tactical decisions requires players to be physically capable of running at peak efficiency for 90 minutes.
And the physical toll is massive these days.
Exactly. That tactical demand naturally forces us to look at how AI is managing the physical toll on the individual athlete. The modern football calendar is absolutely grueling. Intelligent systems are now constantly analyzing workload and physiological indices.
Using more than just heart rate monitors, I assume?
Way more. How does an algorithm actually know a player is about to get injured? It looks at micro changes in stride length. It calculates the ground impact force of a player's footfalls over the last 15 minutes of a high-intensity match.
And compares it to a historical baseline?
Yes, exactly. Like from the last 3 years. If a winger's left foot push-off drops in force by just 4%, the algorithm flags a potential hamstring tear before the player even feels a twinge.
That is undeniably useful.
So if we can preserve a key player for the most decisive moments of an intense season by monitoring these metrics, aren't we ensuring that the human magic is actually available when it matters most, rather than lost to entirely preventable injuries?
Well, I will certainly agree that keeping athletes healthy is a net positive. Nobody wants to see a generational talent sidelined by a preventable muscle tear because a coach pushed them too hard.
Glad we agree on something.
But I just don't buy that this level of individual mechanization stops at injury prevention. Let's look at what happens when this exact same data-driven approach is applied to talent scouting and youth development.
You think scouting is being harmed by more information?
Yes, absolutely. Specialized AI platforms are now analyzing hundreds of thousands of athletes worldwide. They compare them across hundreds of technical and physical indicators to supposedly remove human bias.
Which they do. They highlight expected assists, progressive carrying distance.
Right, but when elite scouting departments rely heavily on these massive data sets, they inherently prioritize the quantifiable over the unquantifiable. Machine learning, by its very definition, relies on historical pattern recognition.
It learns from past success, yes.
It can only identify what success looked like in the past. It cannot predict unprecedented genius. An algorithm cannot measure the sheer courage of a 19-year-old stepping up to take a penalty in a World Cup final.
Well, no, of course it can't measure courage.
It cannot measure leadership, resilience, or how a player lifts the team spirit in the locker room. If the entire global pipeline of talent development is governed by AI diagnostics, we risk standardizing players into metrics. We'll filter out the unique, flawed, but brilliant artists of the game simply because their off-the-ball running statistics don't fit the algorithm's model.
I see the concern there, but I think that completely misrepresents what AI scouting actually achieves in the real world.
How so?
AI in scouting isn't designed to replace the human scout's assessment of character or courage. It's meant to cast a wider net. Historically, scouting was limited by geography and budget.
True, scouts couldn't be everywhere.
Right. A brilliantly talented kid playing in a second-tier league in South America might be completely overlooked simply because a European scout couldn't physically travel to watch them play on a rainy Tuesday.
Okay, that's fair.
Today, an algorithm can flag that kid's anomalous dribbling success rate and bring him to the attention of a major club. It democratizes discovery. It removes the bias of the eye test, where scouts might ignore a player because they are too short or run with an unorthodox gait.
I'll grant you the democratization aspect, but
Let me just broaden the scope even further, though, because AI isn't just changing the game for the athletes and the technical directors. It is profoundly altering the experience for the referees and the fans.
And that is exactly where the sterilization of the sport becomes most visible to the public.
Let me explain how it works first. We demand fairness in international competitions, right?
Of course.
For a century, we placed the burden of perfect memory and perfect perspective entirely on a human referee who is sprinting 50 yards behind the play. Now we have semi-automated offside technology. It collaborates with review systems like VAR to identify infractions with extreme millimeter-level precision.
Oh, the millimeter offsides. Don't get me started.
It's the difference between a detective interviewing an exhausted, unreliable witness versus having crystal-clear 4K security footage. We are taking the impossible cognitive burden away from the human referee.
But we're also taking away the flow.
If technology can track trajectories at high speeds and instantly clarify highly complex, chaotic plays, isn't it intellectually dishonest to romanticize refereeing errors as part of the sport's so-called magic? We all want the correct team to win.
Look, it is not about romanticizing human error. It's about acknowledging the fundamental emotional ecosystem of the sport. The pursuit of absolute algorithmic fairness creates an entirely sterile environment.
Sterile because it's accurate?
Yes, your automated resources can identify an offside by a matter of millimeters. They can tell us if a striker's armpit was technically past the last defender's knee, but look at the devastating cost to the emotional rhythm of the game.
I think fans prefer justice over rhythm.
You brought up 4K security footage earlier. Watching security footage isn't joyful. When a player buries the ball in the back of the net in the 89th minute, the visceral joy of that moment is entirely dependent on its spontaneity.
And the joy is still there.
Is it? Now that spontaneous explosion of emotion is replaced by a conditional celebration. The fans cheer, but then they immediately look at the referee, who is touching his earpiece, waiting for a machine in a server room to draw geometric lines on a screen.
It only takes a few seconds.
But you have essentially introduced latency into human joy. The raw, unfiltered explosion of happiness is gone, pending algorithmic approval.
But surely the temporary delay is worth the integrity of the match. A false goal allowed to stand ruins the emotional joy of the opposing team, and it completely ruins the integrity of the tournament.
I think it's a heavy price to pay.
Well, let's look at the fans beyond just the stadium. This exact same technology is flowing into the broadcasts and the apps that millions of people use to consume the sport every weekend. Fans are now fed a constant stream of real-time statistics.
Yeah, the screens are cluttered with numbers now.
They see 3D reconstructions of complex tactical plays. They understand metrics like expected goals, or XG, which calculates exactly how likely a shot was to go in based on thousands of historical examples from that exact spot on the pitch.
Which I find incredibly dry.
Why? When instant statistics reveal details about a midfielder's passing efficiency under pressure that previously went totally unnoticed, the fans' appreciation for the sport actually deepens.
Does it deepen, or does it completely change the nature of why we watch? You're arguing that feeding fans a constant stream of win probabilities and expected goals makes the broadcast more informative. I argue it forcibly changes the consumption of the sport from an emotional, visceral experience into a cold, analytical exercise.
You don't think fans can handle the analytics?
It's not about handling it. We are slowly conditioning fans to watch the data rather than feel the game. If my team is down 1-0 in the 90th minute, I frankly don't care that our passing probability in the central corridor is only 8%.
You should, if you want them to score.
No! I want our center back to close his eyes, abandon the tactical shape, and launch the ball into the penalty box. I want desperation. I want chaos. By presenting the game as a series of probabilities, we distance the viewer from the raw human struggle happening on the grass.
But feeling the game and understanding the mechanics behind it are not mutually exclusive. When fans see a three-dimensional reconstruction of a play, the human element, the sheer desperation of that center back launching the ball, or the emotion of the goal scored in the final seconds, that remains exactly the same.
I completely disagree. The mystery is gone.
Improbable, and therefore how remarkable that moment truly was.
It quantifies the unquantifiable.
In the coming years, the integration of artificial intelligence, predictive analytics, and augmented reality is only going to make football more sophisticated. We are moving toward a reality where tactical decisions, physical recovery, and refereeing will be supported by systems capable of continuously learning from millions of data points.
Yes, that much is certain.
And this does not diminish the passion of the sport. It builds a stronger, safer, and fairer foundation for human talent to express itself.
See, I fundamentally disagree that the emotion remains exactly the same. When you strip away the mystery of the game, you irrevocably change the relationship between the observer and the event.
By giving them more insight?
If a predictive tool anticipates every strategic scenario, optimizes every substitution based on fatigue metrics, and mathematically dictates the most efficient passing lanes, the narrative arc of a match feels less like a clash of human wills and more like the inevitable execution of a mathematical formula.
I think you're underestimating the athletes.
I completely acknowledge that the technology is here and it is an irreversible reality. Elite teams will continue to use machine learning to detect defensive vulnerabilities. Scouts will definitely use it to find talent.
Because it works.
It works efficiently. But we must remain hyper-vigilant about what we are quietly sacrificing in the background. No algorithm, no matter how perfectly it maps the skeletal movements of a player, can replace the spontaneous creativity of an unexpected dribble or the raw, chaotic energy of a desperate goal line clearance in extra time. My deep fear is that in our relentless quest to eliminate error and inefficiency, we will inadvertently eliminate the human heartbeat of the sport.
Well, it seems we are arriving at a very clear point of both convergence and divergence here. We both agree that the integration of artificial intelligence, optical tracking, and predictive analytics is an irreversible reality.
Completely irreversible.
Right. From capturing millions of data points in a Tuesday training session to tracking millimeter offsides in a World Cup final, the data-driven era is fully upon us, and it will only accelerate.
Indeed. Where we remain in thoughtful tension, I think, is the ultimate consequence of that reality. Does this technological evolution serve merely as a stable foundation that elevates human talent, as you suggest?
I firmly believe it does.
Or does it fundamentally alter and sterilize the emotional essence of the game? While the undeniable precision of AI brings incredible advancements to injury prevention and tactical clarity, there is a profound risk of overshadowing the improvisation, the risk-taking, and the human courage that algorithms simply cannot replicate.
We are ultimately trying to figure out where the silicon ends and the sweat begins. You know, the intersection of tradition and innovation is always complex. As these algorithms continue to ingest millions of pieces of information, observers of the sport will have to continuously reevaluate that boundary between machine efficiency and the magic of the human athlete.
It requires us to constantly ask ourselves what it is we truly value when we watch these athletes compete on the global stage. Are we tuning in to watch flawless, optimized execution, or are we tuning in to witness human triumph in the face of absolute chaos?
The tension between the visceral roar of the stadium and the silent hum of the servers will only grow more pronounced on the road to future titles. It is a dynamic that will continue to challenge our understanding of excellence, inviting us to look closer at the beautiful game. Thank you for joining us on The Debate.